Welcome, Mr. Math here. Today we're looking at order of operations. A couple key things I want to go over to start. I'm sure you've been introduced at some point in middle school and whatnot to please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I want to settle some confusion here as far as how this works. There is some deeper understanding that needs to go into PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and distance subtraction in that order. Let's say I present you with a question that's 8 divided by 4 times 2. If I'm using this method as taught by some, that would mean that I'm going to multiply before I divide. That would mean that I'm going to do 8 divided by 8, 4 times 2, 8, and end up with 1 here. Now, funny thing is, look on a calculator, 8 divided by 4 times 2, it says 4. What's the problem here? Well, what is misunderstood is that actually it's parentheses exponents I like to present as multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. Whatever comes first, going left to right. This is what you want to practice, this is what you understand. Yeah, I showed you how to use this on the calculator, but there is a no calculator section on the SAT. There are some times where you have to manually understand the order of these operations. Now, the understanding is that these parts of your order of operations, your parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, all have to deal with grouping. And certain things, like a parentheses, will group numbers more than, let's say, a multiplication. And multiplication will group numbers more than, let's say, an addition. So that's why we're working in that order. Now, in reality, we're supposed to do 8 divided by 4 times 2. You can see we're actually grouping 8 units. We're grouping them into 4. So if we did 8 divided by 4 and we group 8 units into groups of 4, okay, we're going to have 2 groups. That's what we're doing. We're grouping these 8 units into groups of 4. 2 times 2 equals 4. Now this is the understanding here as far as when we're dealing with order and which way we're working. Remember, multiplication, division come before addition, subtraction. If the division comes before multiplication, yeah, we're going to do our division first here. Same thing goes for if you're working for or with addition, subtraction. It tells you here to do the addition first, but in reality, doing 8 minus 2, 6, 6 plus 4, 10. And you could bet that on any sort of test, your first answer they're going to give you is 8 minus 6, 2. They're going to give you this, 2, because this is what we say is a right-wrong answer. Oh, I did my addition. Okay, 2. This would be probably answer choice A, but be careful here. Another thing we want to look at is dealing with order of operations when we're working with signs. So now we have some signs involved here, okay? As far as positive and a positive, negative and a positive, positive and a negative, and a negative, negative. This is important to pay attention to, is that what is the result of that? A positive and positive gives us a positive. This, anytime you have different signs, and now this is working with multiplication and division. You have some signs to be or that you want to focus on. Subtraction, and negative, negative will actually give you a positive. If you did not add, you did add. It's a double negative. That's kind of how I try to show it sometimes. So, and when you're working with multiplication too, this is something you have to be careful with. So let's look at an example where we have 48 times 2 divided by a negative 8. Okay, yeah, I'm working with my PEMDAS, my multiplication. I have multiplication, division. What comes first? Left to right. It's my multiplication. 48 times 2, 96. Divided by a positive 96 divided by negative 8. will give you a result of a negative 12. So now we're looking at our order of operations where the signs are coming into play. Now, if I had same question where I had negative 96 divided by a negative 8 here, this would actually have been a positive 12, and that's the difference as far as dealing with signs. There are some problems that they might give you where there's a lot of signs and they're giving you a negative outside of parentheses, minus a 3, 8 minus 5. So here we have all these negatives here. Again, we're working with our parentheses first. Now, when I'm working with these problems, I like to rewrite each step to make sure everything's in order. Now, when you have a negative outside the parentheses, basically this is multiplying to this. So this negative and negative becomes a positive 8 minus, let's do one more step here. We could have done the negative 3 times the positive 3. Positive 8 minus 9. Again, this comes from the negative 3 times the positive 3, which gives us the negative 9 here. Now, what do I have more of? This is good here because it actually gives you the idea of, well, I have more negatives than I do positives. So when I combine these two, I think about it as, what is the difference between 8 and 9? The difference is 1 unit. If I have $8 and you have 9, we have a difference of $1. But what do we have more of? Well, we have more negatives. So actually, when we go through the difference, we're going to end up with negative 1. We're going to end up with one more negative here. And you may also be presented with a question, which I like, just one final example here, where they may give you some sort of brackets. You may see this. I want to introduce this to you guys. And basically what this is doing is giving you another set of parentheses here. And they're telling you, actually, let's work inside here first. And when you're doing this, again, go through the steps. Make sure that you're taking it and staying organized, and you're going piece by piece as to not miss a sign or, maybe make a mistake with your addition. And again, so I worked inside the parentheses here. I ended up with my 11. I'm going to continue working inside the parentheses. And when you have two sets of parentheses, work inside here first, the parentheses inside the brackets, and then work your way out. 77 minus 3, 74. Now again, just to review a little bit, the idea is your grouping has order of strength. So your parentheses are your strongest grouping, your exponents, and then again, it's not multiplication before division, it's multiplication and division before addition and subtraction, and you'll do these in order of left to right, Remember, we always want to work hard, practice, not be afraid of failure, and just kind of keep working through these, and through practice kind of get comfortable with what we're doing.